Okay, dancers. This week, you and I have been talking about how stories change over time as they're passed down from generation to generation. Do you remember any of the things or I'm trying to think how to describe this, what I'm asking. Do you remember anything that might affect the retelling of a story? Something that might affect it being changed. Why do we change the story over time? Think about it. I mentioned it yesterday or in another video we've been watching. Excellent. So the story might change because of the people working on it and the choices they make, like lighting, tempo, costumes, dance, darlings, okay? So it might be based on the people who are creating it. Excellent. There are a few other things that might affect the retelling of a story. See if you can come up with them. If you said who the audience is going to be, you're correct. So you might create one Nutcracker for children that are very, very young, like the Barbie cartoon Nutcracker. It's meant for children maybe 2 all the way up to 13. But I don't know that an adult, like a mom or a dad without children, would watch that version of the Nutcracker. So maybe you would create a more adult version for them. Based on your audience and who's watching, you change the story so they can understand it. It might also change if you're taking a story from one country and culture to another country and culture to reflect the culture of the audience that will be watching it. What other reasons did I say a story might change? You might have your own reasons, but there were a few I mentioned. Oh, wow. If you said what's happening in the world at the time you're creating the story, you're really right. So if people are struggling and going through a civil war or something, it might be reflected in the story. Or if, like right now, when I'm recording this, it's 2020. It might not be 2020 when you watch it, but right now it's 2020, and we are in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. So people have to wear masks and stay 6 feet apart and perform virtually instead of in person, right? So all of these things are going to change what the Nutcracker looks like right now in this moment in time. How would the mask rule change our Nutcracker? Maybe the dancers will wear costumes with masks where they didn't before. How would standing 6 feet apart affect our dances? Excellent. Unless the Sugar Plum Fairy and the Prince are quarantined together, it means there probably isn't much partner work or lifting the dancers into the air because we have to make sure it's safe for everybody. So dancers will probably not move through the space as much, not lift other dancers, and also stay in one spot more often to ensure that we're socially distanced. So you can see, also, we might have the story change as a result of the pandemic. So in the Longfellow Nutcracker, the one that I'm creating, with my dancers here at Longfellow Elementary School, our story is going to change. Because we're virtual, we have to be apart. And usually the setting of the Nutcracker is one home. In our Nutcracker this year, due to the pandemic, the Nutcracker is going to happen in every home across Houston. And so our story has changed to reflect that. I can't wait for you to see what it is we've done with the story, the costumes, and the dancing to make it work in today's day and age. Now, something else that's changed in life since the Nutcracker was created is the sweets. So years ago, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when we created the Nutcracker originally, or I should say, when they created the Nutcracker originally, I didn't do it, right? When it was created originally, what was I saying? Oh, when the Nutcracker was created originally, we had coffee as a sweet. Coffee? We don't think of coffee as a sweet now. They also had tea as a sweet. I don't really consider tea a sweet now. Ginger as a sweet? Do you eat ginger on Halloween? I didn't think so. Candy canes? Oh, that one's still the same, so maybe we would keep it, right? And chocolate. Chocolate is definitely still a sweet. So if we were recreating the Nutcracker now, some of the sweets we might do as a tradition, but we could also change the Nutcracker to include modern day sweets. So today, you and I are going to think about our favorite sweet and begin creating a dance about it for a modern Nutcracker. Okay, dancers, you'll need a piece of paper and a pencil. So I'll give you just a moment to get one. Did you get your piece of paper? Are you all set? Excellent. So the first thing that we are going to do is brainstorm. When you brainstorm, you take every idea that comes to your mind. So think about your favorite candies. What are the candies that you get and you're really excited about? We're going to be working on choosing one favorite candy. If you know what it is right away, that's perfect. Excellent. And if you don't know what it is right away, that's okay too. Take a moment and let's write down some of our favorite candies. I'm going to write mine down. So I wrote down a few of my favorite candies. Go ahead and share yours first. I'm listening. Awesome. All right, you had so many great ideas. Some of the candies that I came up with are pixie sticks, those little flavored sugars in a straw, Reese's peanut butter cups, you know, chocolate with peanut butter in the center, Snickers, sour gummies, I love a good sour gummy, lollipops, and licorice. So you should now have a favorite candy. I think today I'm going to make mine. So now we're going to choose our favorite, the one that we really want to dance about as a modern day Land of the Sweets dance. So if you wrote down a whole bunch, go ahead and circle your favorite. And if you only wrote down one, circle it so that you know which one you're choosing to dance about. I'm going to choose sour gummies today. So I'm going to circle sour gummies on my sheet. Excellent. Now we are going to work on adjectives to describe the type of candy we have. So in order to know how to dance, we have to be inspired by the candy we chose. So let's first think about size. The size of your candy might determine if your movement is big or small. Like a sour gummy might feel long and bendy when I dance. So I'm thinking that my size will be probably medium, average. So yours might be small, medium, or large. Write down your size. And what is the shape of your candy? So is it muy recto, very stretched? Is it curvo, curved? Is it angular, angular? Because when you're moving and creating your movement, you want to reflect the shape of your candy. So, and it might change. So sour gummies, if they're laid on the ground, might hold a shape. But if I go to pick it up, it might flop, right? And change shape. So that's something to think about with sour gummies. If I was going to be a pixie stick, I might be sugar kind of all over the place, and then I might melt, like the sugar melts on your tongue. Yeah? So let's see. We know our size, and then we're gonna write down a note about our shape. Is it round? Is it angular? Is it curved? Is it changing? Miss Gingell picked sour gummies, and sour gummies are always changing. Awesome. So under size, write your size. Now you should have a shape. Pause the video if you need more time. Fast forward if I'm giving you time and you don't need it. Now let's think about texture. What is your candy like? Does it stretch and pull like taffy? Or if I was thinking about a Snickers bar, maybe my adjective to describe it, the texture, would be smooth like the caramel with a little crunch or accent for the peanuts inside, right? Because the texture changes. So I want to identify the textures. A Reese's, kind of the same texture all the way through, soft, right? Lollipops are stiff and hard as a texture, so they'll really hold shape as they dance and move. So think about your candy and the texture, the size, the shape of it all together. We are identifying the adjectives that describe our candies now. And then lastly, let's think about the color of our candy. So some candies like chocolate might be brown. And if I was going to be a chocolate candy, the color might affect my what? What would the color affect? In dance, if you're creating a dance about a candy, what would the color of the candy affect in your choices? If you said the costume, you're correct. So if I am going to be the candy, then I probably want to wear the color that the candy is. So let's write down what color or colors our candy is so that we can choose a costume that makes sense or imagine a costume that makes sense. So I'm writing down my colors. My sour gummy changes colors, but I think I'm going to be a yellow and green gummy. So my costume will probably be yellow and green. What color is your candy, and what color will your costume be? All right, dancers, now that we know what our candy is and how we're going to describe it, we now know what our movement is going to look like. So you're going to use the shape, the texture, and the size to determine how you move forward with your movement. I'm going to go get some music now because we are new 2020 candies in the Nutcracker, or whatever year it is that you're watching this. Our music is going to be new as well. So it's not going to be from the traditional Nutcracker you've seen before. We're going to get our own candy music now. Okay, dancers, as promised, you and I are going to begin working on our candy dance for the new generation of 2000s dancers in the Nutcracker. So I've gone ahead and chosen some music. And the first thing that we always do when we're choreographing is develop our movement. So take a moment while I get the music and review your adjectives, your words that describe the candy you chose. And think about how your candy and those adjectives will inspire your movement. Think about how they relate to time, something that crunches, or something that you eat fast, maybe dances a little bit faster. Think about the quality of movement. Is it slow and smooth, like caramel or taffy stretching, or is it sharp, or poppy, like Pop Rocks, or stiff like a lollipop and holds its shape for the most part, okay? So use these as an inspiration for your dance. I'll get the music. We're going to do improvisation and creative movement to develop our ideas. If something is really neat that you do, repeat it and remember it for part of your choreography. All right, let's try our ideas out. If you remember, I'm a gummy worm. So I'm gonna try and connect my dance to going with me. So you should have a few ideas of how you want to move. And of course, we can work on this after our lesson too. Okay, dancers, I'm going to give you time to work on this for your choreography. Remember, choreography is when you put steps in a specific order. So you always do the first thing first, second thing second, third thing last, okay? So create your movements, rewind, practice, and repeat while I play the music. I'm gonna step aside and give you a moment to practice so you can really develop your own movement. And then I will come back in and watch your movement later, okay? I'll get the music now. Maybe think about a great beginning pose. What does your candy look like? What would you like to start your dance like? Does your dance begin with a pose? Or does it begin in movement? Either way is okay. Same thing for the ending. Some dances end in movement and others end in stillness. All right, dancers, I hope you are doing a great job practicing. I can't wait to see what you've come up with. Remember, you can rewind this video and try your improvisation and your choreography again with the music. That's it for today. Can't wait to see your dance of the candy for the Nutcracker in 2000's.